Sure. Yeah.
We'll call this meeting of the Norwich City Council order. Will announcement to begin the meeting. The meeting of the council will seek to comply with the Director's Executive Order 7B-1 issued by Governor Ned Lamont on March 14th,
This is
2020.
delayed 7 seconds. No, turn it up. That's live.
Together with any executive orders subsequently issued which pertain to such meetings. The mayor, members of the city council, and the city manager, city clerk, controller, corporation council shall be present in person, but separated by appropriate social distancing at council chambers, or participate remotely by conference call, video conference, or other technology. The meeting shall be televised on the public access channel and posted on the city's website, www.norwichct.org, in real time, consistent with Executive Order 7B-1 and the usual practices of the City of Norwich. All remarks or comments made by the mayor, members of the Norwich City Council, city officials, and by the public during the citizen comment on resolutions portions of the meeting shall be included. The comments of citizens on resolutions may be made telephonically pursuant to the following instructions. Call the phone number first, dial 860-215-8140, and then when prompted, enter the conference ID number 403-8191, followed by the pound key. This number will be available only during the public comment period listed on the agenda as citizen comment on resolutions. Its use commences when citizen comment on resolutions is reached and opened by the mayor, or in this case, the President Pro Tem. Any calls must be made prior to the announcement that the citizens' comment on resolutions period has ended. Citizens' comment on resolutions limited to resolutions on the agenda may also be sent by email or means of other written communication stating the name, address, and title, if applicable, of the sender. Emails should be sent to the office of the mayor at mayorsoffice@cityofnorwich.org, and other written communications sent or delivered to the office of the mayor, 100 Broadway, Norwich, Connecticut, 06360. Emails must be received by 7 p.m. at the above-mentioned date, and other written communication received by 4:30 p.m. of the above-mentioned date to be made available to the City Council for this meeting. Citizen comments will be limited to the resolution on the agenda only. All speakers taking part in the citizen comment on resolutions portion of the meeting shall clearly state their name, address, and title, if applicable, before speaking, and will be limited to 3 minutes. I will note before the meeting that Alderman Bill Nash will not be with us today. He's traveling out of state, and Mayor Nystrom is joining us via teleconference from home due to some recent knee surgery. And with that, I'd ask you all to rise, and Alderwoman Ella Miles will lead us in prayer.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of your community. Amen.
I, Mark Bedco, will lead the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda are the minutes for August 3rd and 17th. Did I get a motion for adoption?
Motion.
Motion by Alderwoman Ella Miles, second by Stacy Gould. Any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0.
with one absentee. I'll note for the record that earlier this evening at the at the Liberty Bell, we handed out 3 proclamations regarding raising men and women lawn care. Each of the young people did 50 lawns. Nathan Concepcion,
Nyesha Bermudez.
Thank you. Nyesha Bermudez and Janaya Jarman all received proclamations from the
This
city.
call is being recorded. You are the last party in the conference.
They all received their proclamations prior to this meeting, and the entire council that's here today was present. And should be? Yeah, I already did that at the beginning. So we have next order on the agenda, petitions and communications. Number 1.
Report from the Commission on City Plan per Chapter 15, Section 4 of the City Charter relative to a resolution regarding the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation release of 3 parcels of land located in the vicinity of Route 82 and Salem Turnpike to the City of Norwich.
Motion to accept them. Alderman Wilson, second by Alderwoman Gould. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0.
Thank you. Item number 2.
Memo from Comptroller explaining resolution regarding refunding bonds.
Motion to accept this is received
Motion.
by Alderwoman Miles, second by Alderwoman Gould. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0.
Item 4.
Item 3.
Oh, 3, excuse me, sorry.
Memo from the Comptroller explaining proposed resolution regarding the 2019-2020 budget transfers for the general fund, CCD, and TCD.
Motion to accept this is received. Alderman Wilson, Alderwoman Gould. Any other discussion? Alderman Wilson.
I just want to say, I want to commend Josh and his staff for the level of detail that they give in these memos so that individuals that are at home reading this understand exactly what's going on and can read exactly in plain language exactly what is being done. So thank you again.
Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
It's 6-0.
Thank you. Item 4, please.
Memo from Comptroller explaining proposed ordinance regarding property tax abatement for the volunteer firefighters and exemptions for motor vehicles equipped for persons with disabilities.
Motion to bring it forward as accepted or received.
Motion.
Motion by Alderwoman Miles, second by Alderman Wilson. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the city manager's report. City manager?
This is the city manager report for September 8th, 2020. Meetings via conference call or video included Governor Lamont updates, state representatives and legislators, Region 4 Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, Southeastern Council of Governments, Southeast Transit District, NCDC Board Meeting, NPU/City Coordination Meeting, School Building Committee, and KERMA Investment Committee. Fire negotiations are also underway. My office has received notification from the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services of the 2020 approved Neighborhood Assistance Act programs. The 7 Norwich applicants with requests totaling $478,835 have been notified via email by my assistant Jackie Barbarossa. Businesses requesting a tax credit under the Neighborhood Assistance Act must complete Form NAA-02 on the DRS website for each program it wishes to sponsor by September 15, 2020. A list of all approved programs is available on the DRS website. I have received notification from the U.S. Department of Justice regarding the Norwich Police Department's assistance in the case against a member of a southeastern Connecticut drug ring and his 10-year sentence in federal prison. Thank you for your assistance in this. Congratulations to Asaph Cohen, Sophia LeWitt, and Carol LeWitt, who are being recognized for a Connecticut Preservation Award of Merit. They purchased and restored 80 Broadway, the original Otis Library, also known as Cafe Otis, and former home of Norwich Human Services Department, and will be recognized for their efforts at a virtual ceremony on September 9th, starting at 6 p.m. For more information or to register for the event, please visit preservationct.org. The Recreation Department is running PREP, which stands for Park and Recreation Enrichment Program, a daycare service for kindergarten through 8th grade for up to 3 days a week during the hybrid COVID-19 school year. The program, which costs $40 a day, runs from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and provides supervision to children while they do their schoolwork and their parents are working during the pandemic. Registration is available on the city's website under the Recreation Department. Norwich Youth and Family Services will be holding the 17th annual Family Day virtually this year. There will be activities and performances for families and videos from community agencies from September 18th to September 20th. Registration is available on the Youth and Family Services Facebook. The Harry O. Fun Run will be held during the event on Sunday and is organized by the Recreation Department and the NFA cross-country team. Please visit www.norwichct.org/recreation for more information. Attached is a Treasury report for the quarter ending June 30th, 2020. And that completes my report for this evening.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is citizens' questions? Those questions? Oh, sorry, Drew. My apologies.
So just, I have two. The first one is for the rec program, just clarification, it's $30 now, not $40, correct?
My understanding was that it was 40.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking is I know I talked with her earlier today, and also I think it was reported in the article in the paper today of that change. So I just wanted to make sure that's a clarification for individuals as they register moving forward. Just a clear understanding of where that is. So that's just a.
I will check on that tomorrow.
And then the other thing, and we've already talked about this, but you know, I know this was several individual citizens' concerns is this program is a fee-based initiative that the rec department is doing. So this is not going to impact any of the COVID funding or anything or the rec department's budget, correct?
That's correct. It will pay, the registration fees will pay for the program.
Okay, and I know one of the other things as far as this program is that the rec department is also working with the school system to make sure that things go smooth.
Yes, close coordination with them, yes.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that the public, had those answers because I know those were several concerns, so thank you for answering it.
Anything else? Anyone else? Seeing none, I guess then we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is citizens' comment on resolutions. We'll remind everyone at home that's only on agenda items. Please call the phone number first by dialing 860-215-8140, and then when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. I'll repeat that. Call phone number first, dial 860-215-8140, and then when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. Citizen comment on resolutions is now open. Also remind you to, when you get on, please list your name, state your name and address prior to speaking. This will be the second call for citizens' comment on resolutions. Dial 860-215-8140, and then when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, 403-8191, followed by the pound key. State your name and address prior to speaking. This will be the third and final call for citizen comment. Oh, do we have somebody? Stand by.
Ryan Kovalar, 16 Hobart Avenue. I just wanted to have clarification from Corporation Counsel on the resolution dealing with the firefighters volunteer fund and whether or not a council member who could end up benefiting from it in the long term can vote or take part in the discussion. Thank you.
One more time, call phone number 860-215-8140, and then when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key, in order to comment on any resolution on the agenda. Hearing no other comments on the resolutions, I'll declare comments on resolutions closed.
New business resolution 1, relative to an appointment to the Norwich Housing Authority.
Motion to bring it forward. Alderman Wilson, second by Alderwoman Stacy Gould. Any discussion? The motion is to appoint Mary E. Lunt as to the Norwich Housing Authority. Hearing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Benford?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0. Number 2, relative to request for proposal to demolition property at 21 Fairmont Street.
Motion to bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderwoman Miles. Any discussion? Alderman Wilson.
So I will say, this property, of course, for many, has an importance in their growth here in the city of Norwich. It, of course, was the old Martin Luther King Center. And I've discussed, of course, this with many of the individuals that have benefited from that. You know, we've tried many things of trying to sell it. The property is not getting in any better condition or shape. The only thing that as we move forward, we're in a unique position as a city. I put a challenge out to our school building committee as we look at unique opportunities and ways to get a community center or something of that sort here. There are some unique opportunities as we look at what our school buildings will look like in the future, looking to see what some of the other towns around us have done. Most notably, you have Groton and Wyndham and different places. I implore us to take a chance at the opportunity to provide something for our young people here in the city of Norwich. And you know, I even think of going a step further and even naming it the Martin Luther King building or center in commemoration of that. You know, I think it would go a long way, and I think we have a unique opportunity as we begin the process. We're in the initial stages, of course, the process of seeing what buildings for the schools and whatnot look like, and taking on the opportunity of possibly getting something that's a long time coming. So thank you.
Anyone else? Alderwoman Gould, regarding the resolution.
Yes. Unfortunately, 21 Fairmont Street, the building is in very poor condition. There is absolutely no parking for this piece of property. And while some of our agencies here in the city have looked into the idea of rehabbing the building, unfortunately, There is no good way to rehab this building and provide parking or even handicapped accessibility. It's a challenge on Fairmont Street, and, well, I appreciate Alderman Wilson's sentiments. There's really nothing that can be done with this building other than demolish it, unfortunately. We spent a lot of time looking at this building, trying to sell the building, but there's nothing else that we can do with this at this time. And I think the committees that look at buildings that we take, that are taken over by the city for tax foreclosure, we really try to do our due diligence and get these buildings rehabbed and back on the tax rolls. But unfortunately, 21 Fairmont Street, it's just too much of a challenge, and nobody's going to take it on. So I'm sorry that it has to be taken down, but that's the only thing that can be done with it at this time. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman DeLucia.
Thank you. So I would like to echo both of my colleagues' comments, because this building as a center had a very strong and important mission. But that mission was carried out by the people who occupied the space. It's unfortunate that the space has just become untenable. But that's certainly not to say, to Alderman Wilson's point, that we can't find another space to continue that mission and expand that mission. But this particular piece of property, Alderwoman Gould is absolutely correct. We've all looked at it. People smarter than us in terms of buildings have looked at it, and there's just no good way to approach this project and turn it into something that could be viable. So unfortunately, as much as I hate to really tear buildings down, just based on my background, I hate to see our old buildings go, but sometimes you have to know when you're beat, and when you just have a situation that cannot be resurrected. This is also not a snap decision by this council. This was first brought up or put on the agenda and discussed at Public Works and Capital Improvement Committee meeting. And again, a lot of research was done, a lot of evaluation was done. So this was not a decision that was made lightly or quickly, but I think we are making the correct decision on this particular piece of property. Thank you.
Anyone else? Recognizing the city manager, John Solomon.
The other item is that the land, although the elevation is much different than the fire parking lot, is adjacent to the rear of the fire department. And parking is at a premium whenever there's an event at the fire department. I'm not saying that I necessarily recommend it becomes a parking lot, but it has some potential since it's adjacent to it. So it could be put to use at some point if it's feasible. At least it's adjacent to it.
Thank you. If I may, my own 2 cents, if you will, I think I'm, not to belabor the issue, but I'm certainly in agreement with all the speakers so far. Obviously, when you talk about the school building committee, which I chair, and Alderman DeLucia and Alderwoman Gould sit on, one of the goals I think is, or should be, the community use of school facilities, or some of the existing structures be repurposed, in that mold potentially. So that's something obviously as a city that we'll consider going forward. But again, that's a long way off. So is anyone else on the resolution? Alderman DeLucia again, second bite.
Just to expand just on one thing that the city manager just mentioned, that hopefully this won't be tear it down and build another parking lot in the city of Norwich, but its proximity to central headquarters, maybe it becomes a training area. We can certainly talk with the fire chief about that. Maybe the space could be if it's going to remain in the city's hands, could be some sort of fire training area, that would benefit all 6 departments and even some of our regional partners. That would be something that, maybe public safety could take up at a later date. But for now, tonight, we need to move on getting the building demolished.
Amen. Anyone else on the resolution? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
It's 6-0.
Thank you.
Number 3, relative to a resolution amending a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Norwich general obligation refunding bonds.
Motion to bring it forward. Alderman Wilson, second by Alderwoman Miles. Could I ask our controller to come up and give us a brief explanation?
Good evening.
Controller Josh Pothier.
Good evening, everyone. So this resolution amends a resolution that was passed by the council in March, and it enables us to refund 2011 and 2014 bond issues, and the potential savings at this point in time are calculated at about $500,000 in net present value savings over the 14 years remaining life of these bonds. So if the council passes this resolution, we'll be working over the next month, hopefully, to consummate this transaction if the market forces stay in effect the way they are now.
Anybody on the resolution? Alderwoman? I'm Alderman. I'm doing well today. Alderman DeLucia.
Thank you. No, I mean, the memo that you sent to us explains it perfectly. I just wanted to take a moment to thank both you, your department, and the city manager. I mean, we've come to almost expect that you guys will be making these kinds of financial moves to save the city money over the long term. But even though that has become our expectation, it certainly should never be taken for granted, or how closely you look at our entire structure, bond structure and revenue structure, and find out how to best use our money. And I know that I personally appreciate it. I know that just if I could take a little bit of liberty and speak on behalf of the council, you make our job easier. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, I wanted to point out that these bonds, a significant portion of them are for gas line extensions. So somewhere around half of the savings will benefit Norwich Public Utilities, and the remainder will help the general city.
Good to know. Anyone else on the resolution? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Resolution 4, relative to the transfer of funds among various departments to close out fiscal year 2019-2020.
Motion to bring it forward. Alderman Wilson, second. Alderwoman Miles. Discussion. We have the city manager and Controller Pothier both sitting here, so if you have any. Alderman Wilson.
So first I want to start by commending both Josh, your staff, as well as Norwich Public Schools and their staff. I mean, we sat up here and individuals hammered the school board for a $1.1 million deficit coming into this year. from their 2019-20 school budget. And, I think that the collaboration, the communication, the hard work and dedication that the Board of Ed, the council, as well as the comptroller and all individuals have really put forward as far as getting things in order and working together have gotten us to this point. I think understanding that the COVID-19 has helped, I believe, this deficit shrink. I think they are still to be commended for doing their part and making sure that everything was accounted for. So I definitely want to say thank you to both and all of the departments as well that did, their part to stay within their budgets during this 2019-20 budget year.
I'm going to recognize myself for a moment, and just to explain that this resolution does transfer $750,000 from various other accounts rather than going into the unrestricted fund balance. So I know a lot of us have been concerned with dipping into that balance any further and potentially down the road jeopardizing our bond rating and other things. So I think the two biggest line items there are $230,000 for the police. I believe that's mainly in overtime. City Manager, is that that was in savings? Yeah, and there's some part of COVID that's probably involved there, but. And then Public Works, of course, we had a very light snow season this winter, so we saved some money there. So, and several other departments, obviously, there's funds from this past fiscal year that's transferred that are covering this entire balance. So while obviously I'm not jumping up and down for joy that we have to transfer $750,000 to cover the Board of Ed shortfall, it's certainly better than what it could have been. So, certainly I commend to the Board of Ed for this past year for working with us, rather than each of us staying in our silos and not really cooperating. I think this year we've had a significant amount of cooperation, so I'd like to publicly thank them, and I appreciate, appreciate them working with us as we continue to develop relationships here between us and the Board of Ed. So, anyone else on the resolution? Alderwoman Gould.
Well, I'm going to take a little different turn on this and say, while I appreciate the hard work of the city manager and Josh for all that they do for us, we have to commend the department heads of these different agencies because they're the ones who tighten their fiscal belt, COVID or not. And we cannot expect that every year we're going to have $750,000 worth of savings from these departments to help cover the cost of the Board of Education. We may have a bad winter. We may have an additional need for police. I don't know what we may or may not have, but we cannot expect that this is going to be happening each and every year, that we're going to have a $220,000 savings at Public Works. So, and I know how hard the Board of Education is working. I'm on all of those committees. I know how hard they're working, but even with our situation with the pandemic, they have to live within their budget. We do not have we're not going to have $750,000 next year to transfer. I highly doubt it. Because if we do, then we're giving all of these departments too much money in their budget, and we need to give that money back to the taxpayers. So, while I'm happy that the deficit from the Board of Education is a lot less than they expected it would be, and I appreciate the fact that we found this money in the desk drawers of some of our departments, this is not going to be the way of the world. So I don't want us to expect that this is going to be happening each and every year, this kind of transfer. And if we're giving these departments too much money, then we have to look at next year reducing, or in a few years, look at reducing their budget so that the taxpayers get these money back in their pockets. Thank you.
On the resolution, Alderman DeLucia.
Thank you. So I would just like to say that, that at least we have the deficits going in the right direction. You know, for a couple of years, you know, that I've been up here, and a couple of years before that, it was getting dangerously bleak. And certainly there were many contributing factors to the situation that we're in right now, but at least it is going in the right direction. And cultural shift is difficult, and sometimes it can even be painful. And you know, the work that we did with the ad hoc committee, I know that those meetings on certain nights were painful, but we shared in that work, we cooperated in that work, and we made progress. We are going in the right direction. And so I'm very happy to see the atmosphere that has really brought together this council and the Board of Ed in terms of what the education budget's going to be. And I'm not saying that it's solved. I'm not saying that there isn't more pain to be tolerated and even suffered through. But again, at least we have it going in the right direction. Thank you.
Anyone else? Just really quick, obviously, you know, we talk about pain and stuff, the potential for that, but let's face it, without the communication going back and forth, you know, it's going to be, you know, pain without good reason. And certainly we want to be dealing with facts as they come along, and instead of, you know, well, I feel it should be this, I only want to give such and such a dollar amount. Well, I certainly want the reasons and the facts for those decisions to be at the forefront. And I think, for instance, the ad hoc committee is a good place for that to be ironed out, rather than just, you know, throwing numbers out there. So, anybody else on the resolution? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 6-0.
Thank you.
Number 5, relative to accepting properties from the state located at Maplewood Court and Route 82.
Motion to bring it forward? Motion. Alderwoman Miles, second by Alderman Wilson. Discussion on the motion. No discussion? Could I ask the city manager for a synopsis of what we're doing here?
Yes. These properties are adjacent to the exit ramp at the interstate at 395. They are surplus properties to the state. We initially the city was initially interested in looking at these when we were studying to have an alternative entrance into Mahan School. We didn't pursue that at that point, but for future development, either with the school or economic development, having another point of egress to that property would be beneficial to the city and any development of the property. So it's strategically located property, and it should be advantageous to the city to acquire it.
Anyone else? Thank you, city manager. Any other discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 6-0. Number 6, relative to residency requirements.
Motion to bring it forward. Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderwoman Miles. Discussion. I'm going to ask Chris LaRose to come up. just explain what we're doing here. Chris is the, for those of you that don't know, is the general manager of Norwich Public Utilities.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mark Decker was hired in...
Could you bring the mic up?
I'm sorry, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Decker was hired in January of 2011 and is currently serving as our water integrity manager. And in that role, he manages our 2 water treatment plants, the distribution system, and the laboratory that serves water and wastewater services. He also is managing 2 large projects that are upgrading our 2 water treatment plants right now. A dissolved air filtration system at our Stonywood plant and a new filter upgrade at our Deep River plant. Mark put in for his retirement and has been approved for his retirement by the Payroll and Pension Board, and he is planning on retiring April 10th of 2021. Mark at that time owned 2 homes. He put his home up, one of his homes up for sale, so he would be only residing in his retirement home. And the property sold, and now Mark is going to be living in Narragansett, Rhode Island for 7 months, and that's roughly 45 miles away. Mark is the 3rd responder for any emergency at the plants. We have a call man who's a water treatment plant operator, then the chief plant operator who reports to Mark, and then Mark. So Mark is actually within the 60-mile radius, just not in the state of Connecticut, and he can respond accordingly in that role. What we're looking at is to allow Mark to reside in Narragansett until his retirement leave.
And it, well, if I may, and this is to basically prevent NPU from itself from suffering hardship as far as the management structure at the plant?
Yeah, we need him to complete the 2 water plant upgrades, commission them, get them up and operating, and then allow us time to replace Mark in his role.
Thank you. Alderman DeLucia?
Thank you. I really don't have a question for you, Chris, but I know you sent us a little, you sent us a copy of this resolution ahead, and there was a little bit of an explanation through email, and I appreciate that. And so it's my understanding that, with a highly skilled workforce like what we have at NPU, right, we can't have people leave with 30 days notice. I mean, I'm a math teacher, okay? And even I have to give 60 days notice before I can retire and go out the door, because my district needs time to replace me, and the utility needs time to replace the employees that again are very highly skilled and have knowledge sets that are not found with people just walking down the street. So to my way of thinking, the fact that we have so much advance notice and the ability to be flexible to honor not only Mark's service, but also to do what's in the best interest of the utility, which is to give you time to have his replacement or replacements in place before he leaves. I don't see, to me, that's a no-brainer. And frankly, it's also good professional and management practice. So thank you for the information, because I clearly saw what the situation was once I had that in front of me, and I appreciated that before I walked into this chamber tonight.
Yeah, this is a critical position, and it's allowing us to cross-train his replacement, which is a great opportunity to not lose that institutional knowledge.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Wilson?
One of the things we've talked about tonight is the level of communication, cooperation that has been on display here in the city of Norwich, and this is another one of those examples. We've got, as Alderman DeLucia has said, well advanced notice of when his retirement is. We understand the circumstance and situation. I think understanding that there are 2 major projects that he has been in charge of, overseeing, it is important that he sees them through. I think that's part of, one of the things that anyone who starts a project wants to see it through. I think seeing it come online, and also training the individuals that will take over is important. And I think that's a no-brainer. You know, I think us losing someone in the middle of an important upgrade could be a devastating situation, as you're also trying to train someone on something, the old and the new. So, you know, I see this as a no-brainer. I, again, applaud you guys for the communication and cooperation, for the understanding of giving us the notice ahead of time, and the circumstances in which he's in. So this is something that is a no-brainer to support. So thank you.
Anyone else on the resolution? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0. New business ordinances. Number 1, an ordinance exempting the Norwich Roman Catholic Diocesan Corporation from the payment of taxes on certain property located at 25 Otis Street.
Okay, please have a motion to waive the reading of the full ordinance and set a public hearing for September 21st, 2020 at 7:30 PM for a second reading and action on the ordinance. Motion by Alderman Gould, second by Alderman Wilson. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 6-0.
Thank you.
Number 2, an ordinance amending Section 7-25 of the Norwich Code of Ordinances by changing the title, adding new provisions to be identified as number 3 and number 4 to subsection A, and by adding a subsection D regarding the timely filing of claims for an exemption as provided in this section.
Could I again have a motion to waive the full reading of the ordinance and set a public hearing date for September 21st, 2020 at 7:30 PM for second reading and action on the ordinance? Alderman Wilson, second by Alderman DeLucia. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
Vote is 6-0. Number 3, an ordinance amending Section 7-26 of the Norwich Code of Ordinances by adding subsection G to increase the property tax abatement for volunteer firefighters pursuant to Public Act Number 1936.
Again, a motion to waive the full reading of the ordinance and set a public hearing on September 21st, 2020 at 7:30 PM for second reading and action. In addition, we would like to refer this ordinance to the Public Safety Committee for comment. Motion by Alderman DeLucia, second by Alderwoman Miles. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Oh, wait a minute, discussion. Alderman Wilson?
Just a small thing. So this would, you got, public safety meets next week, I believe?
Tomorrow.
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 And it is on our agenda.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah.
Nope,
so-
thank you so much. That answers the question.
We were anticipating that this was going to be that way, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm anticipating the referral. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
The vote is 6-0.
There being no other business before us, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
By Alderwoman Gould, second.
Second.
Alderwoman Miles, roll call vote.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt.
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom.
Yes.
Vote is 6-0.
We stand adjourned at 8:25 PM. Thank you very much, everybody.